Hey, I'm Tatiana Graham, physiotherapist, yoga teacher, runner, mom of 3, and your host for the Move with Ease podcast. This podcast is an extension of everything I'm passionate about: preventative health, unlocking your potential, and really getting to know yourself on such a deep level that it ripples out into every aspect of your life. Because here's what I believe. When you truly understand your inner world, your body, your mind, your patterns, your truth, everything in your outer world shifts. You move differently, you show up differently, you thrive differently, and that's what we're going to explore together on this podcast. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Move with Ease podcast. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Emma Pollon-MacLeod, Naturopathic Doctor and CEO of NutriChem, an integrative health hub that uniquely combines a naturopathic clinic and a compounding pharmacy under one roof. Having stepped into the CEO role 2 years ago, Emma is the leading evolution of NutriChem's 45-year legacy, honoring its roots while raising the bar for what modern integrative healthcare can be. Under her leadership, NutriChem continues to be a place where pharmacists and naturopathic doctors work side by side. As a clinician herself, Dr. Emma's practice centers on perimenopause and menopause care. She is a Menopause Society Certified Practitioner with a background in biochemistry and over 10 years of clinical experience as a ND. Thank you for being here, Dr. Emma. Is that why I can call you Dr. Emma?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, it's a pleasure. And for listeners who know Dr. Sophie, she was on our episode a few episodes ago now, and she's your sister. It's so special. And we learned all about the history of NutriChem and just like that beautiful family, locally owned and operated story. I'd love to hear your story though. What brought you to naturopathic medicine? And yeah, let's just get to know you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being in a family business, for anyone who knows it, kind of you grow up in the business from a very young age. So I've been a part of NutriChem in one way or another since, I think, in grade 5, my first job was shredding prescriptions. My cousin and I would stay in my mom's office after school and chat while shredding, because there wasn't a shredding company back then. And since then, I've worked in the front store, chatting with people, understanding what they were coming in, looking for alternative support, and working alongside nutritionists. I also worked when we had a testing lab upstairs. I helped run that. And then I also worked as a pharmacy assistant. And so being exposed to different areas really allowed me to understand, the impact of having an integrative, very open mind, not having this line where it's natural versus pharmaceutical. It always felt very blended together. And, I always laugh at my mom because NutriChem used to work with a couple of naturopaths, like way back in the day. And, she spoke to me and she was like, this is a really, really cool job. I think this seems like such a perfect job for you. And, I think I was 16 or I was grade 11 or 12. And I'm like, Mom, you're so annoying. What your mom, I'm not going to do this. And then I met with her and I spoke to her. Oh no, you know what? I was in university at that stage. I spoke to her and I was like, man, my mom was right.
Oh, no.
I don't want to admit it. I was like, this is such a cool job. I had wrote my PCATs, my MCATs,
Wow.
and I was figuring out what I wanted to do after my undergraduate degree. And neither one of them felt really aligned. And so as soon as I spoke to her, I was like, this is it. This is exactly where I want to be. And I read the Naturopathic Doctor's Oath. So for those who don't know, there's a really incredible oath that is just the essence and the philosophy of naturopathic medicine. And after reading that, I have it framed in my office. It was like, well, this is so aligned with how I think and how we should support others. So,
wow. Do you have it? Can you read it to us? Or is it super long?
Well, I'm not in my office right now, but it is, there's 5 different points around it. Of course, the first one is do no harm. I'll pull it up so we can go through it after we kind of get chatting a little bit.
So your heart was always sort of along the lines of patient care, medicine. You just weren't sure if it was going to be medical doctor or sort of that route, naturopathic doctor, which was what your mom suggested, and then pharmacy or pharmacist, sounds like.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah, Cool. So, what keeps you passionate after all these years? Like, is there a personal story behind it, or is it literally just the exposure from, the family business?
I think what keeps me passionate is just seeing the gaps in the opportunity to have impact. The impact of my ability as being a single clinician is who I can see in a day versus
Hmm.
the ability of impact when I'm leading a company that can support other practitioners in providing the type of care that we feel is, really underserviced and critically important in our medical system today. And so being able to understand from the clinician perspective what the limits are, where the kind of bottlenecks and issues and constraints are in your practice, and being able to build a support system around that so that they can, deploy and support more patients with the type of care, to me is that is what keeps me going, and
Yeah.
being able to support practitioners and support pharmacists and building a route where they feel like they're making an impact. They don't feel like they're just like another number,
Mm.
another place. It's really connecting them to, we're making a difference. We are supporting a type of personalized care that is needed. And every role within the company, I want people to feel connected to that purpose.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful because that's what A gives everyone that deep reason why and show up passionate and excited every day for work. And also it comes through with your clients, with your patients. I mean, I'm a patient there, and as soon as we walk in the doors, right? Like there's this feeling that like, okay, I'm gonna be taken care of here.
Exactly. And that's the goal. And I think there's a really big difference in people working towards something where they feel connected and they feel genuinely passionate about what they are doing, versus someone who doesn't have that, experience and connection. And I think that's kind of, where burnout comes in, is that even if you're not doing doing the hours or having the workload, if you're not connected or you don't feel aligned, um,
Yeah.
that is a recipe for, not having that passionate growth that we're looking to, support people on.
You bring up a really good point here, which I didn't think we'd talk about, but I love this because I think it's a really big testament to your parents for building that kind of community where all their children are now back and working there, right? That rooted connectedness with that deep purpose. And
Mhm.
second, or B, you are now the CEO. And I was at your event, the 45th party, and you spoke so eloquently about having those, like continuing kind of those tradition and the roots, but also recognizing it's 2026 and we need to pivot or innovate and like keep up. So can you speak to that and how, I mean, it could feel like a mountain, but I think at the root of it, we are all human beings and we need that human connection. And I think that's so important. And I can see that that's a big value in NutriChem.
Yeah, and I think it's using AI and technology in order to enhance our systems and to enhance the experience of someone going through the ease of using what we're providing. But the root of it is only to support a real connection with a real person and feeling like
Mm,
you're at the center of your own care. I think there's different models out there, and some of them are based on like speed and volume, and it's very difficult sometimes to resist that. But we've always resisted that. We've resisted that in, our pharmacy model, where it's never been about like speed and volume of prescriptions. It's always been about the level and depth of care. And I think that's what we're trying to do, as a company in general, is taking a little bit more time to explain things to people, to allow them to understand, to feel like they're uninformed, like not just an informed participant, but they are leading their own health. Like, we're here to
mm.
support them. That's the core, that's the critical core. And the use of technology and systems will allow us to do that in a way where our clinicians aren't burdened with administrative work, and we can have more, connections to people. So I think both pieces are critically important, but we must remember where the root, like what the core philosophy always is.
Yeah. Oh, that's just clever. So
Yeah.
smart. Yeah. Speaking of letting your patient guide or like be at least the center and lead. When someone comes in, and I'm thinking more about like my mom and my mother-in-law's generation, when they didn't know even the word perimenopause. And they basically, when I talk about to my mom about it, and she's like reflecting, she's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, those were like the worst 10 years of my life. And it's just wild to me. But, she's here now after menopause, feeling great. But like, what would you suggest as a menopause specialist for women in that category? Is it like, oh, well, I didn't do anything about it then, so don't do anything about it now? Or is it like, yeah, like let's explore, I don't know, supplements, hormone therapy? What would you recommend? Because I get this question a lot too from my clients in that generation.
I think it's more just opening up the conversation around connecting with your body and, listening to what your needs are and not telling yourself that it's not a big deal or it's just aging. Because, if sleep is a consistent concern or pain is a consistent concern, just because you've had it for a long time doesn't mean you can't get support for it. And I think
Mm,
the mentality around feeling disconnected and kind of just having that mindset that this is the way it is can hold you back from exploring things that could potentially be really helpful to you. And so I
yeah.
think it's more just allowing yourself to be curious about what your body actually needs. And there are a lot of women who are post menopause who are feeling great, unknowingly adopted a lot of things that have actually helped them through. And we haven't named it or called it anything, but they
Right.
have been doing a lot of the movement. They've figured out the diet. It might have taken a lot longer because there wasn't anyone guiding them, but
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes we see that as well. So I don't want them to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the wrong thing or I'm not doing enough.
Mm.
It's really learning what it is that your body needs. And if your body is telling you that it needs a little bit more support, it's okay to listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that you said that. And it's so true because a lot of the things that we can do for ourselves is free.
Exactly. And it's the first step is that connection and really listening. And I think sometimes that's where the noise of social media gets really loud, where it's telling everybody what their experience is going to be like. It's telling everybody that it's going to be a terrible transition, that you have to be very fearful about all of these things that are going to happen to you. Your body is going to completely work against you and you have to adopt all of these things in order to age. And I really don't resonate with that messaging because I think we're setting women up to be afraid for a
Yeah.
transition. We don't want this to be a fear pressure based discussion. We want it to be a discussion around understanding what's happening to your body so you can advocate for yourself and so that you can
Hmm.
also adapt and understand why maybe the tools that have worked for you in the past might not be working. But it's not from a place of it's going to be terrible, buckle up. I think that's a disservice to women.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I love that you're just putting that out there like that, because I think a lot of that messaging out there right now is fear-based. And then it kind of feels overwhelming. I hear this from friends and clients all the time. Like you want to set yourself up for success, but then optimize sleep, optimize supplements, optimize diet, optimize movement, lift heavy, buy a weighted vest. And then you just feel like, never mind, I can't do it.
Exactly, 100%. And I love looking to the women that have gone through it with nothing. And just because things are hard and challenging does not mean that your body will break, that you are putting
Hmm.
yourself in danger. I think the transition is actually a very important transformational time for women where you
Mm.
must, because your tolerance to sleep changes, other people's concerns or issues narrows, you kind of have to let things go and you're
Yeah.
not going to kind of sweep everything under the rug anymore. And that's kind of a transition into a different stage of womanhood. And you can either kind of
Hmm.
fight against it or you work with it to,
Hmm.
support yourself through.
Yeah.
So I think it is an important stage that will happen. And I think we're very uncomfortable with uncertainty.
Yep.
And so I think that's where we're trying to build all of these systems around ourselves to maybe, um, you know, support something that's uncertain. And I'm like, you still don't know how it's going to go. There's a lot of stuff we can do, but let's start with
Mm-hmm.
what's actually impacting you.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it sounds like, for whoever's listening, it's just, and I think your sister said this well, like just take inventory,
Yes.
right? Like take inventory and where does it feel like something maybe isn't as, 99% as you want it to be. We're never 100. So is your sleep not, as optimal as you want it to be? Is it the energy level? Is it stress? Whichever one it is, then you look to, okay, how can I support myself and do I need guidance and support, right?
Exactly. And I think it's interesting that, people say, okay, well, this isn't as good as I want it to be.
Mm,
And so connecting with yourself is always like the most critical part, but also understanding that just because you want, if you're like, okay, my sleep isn't as good as I want it to be. Well, what is making you want to have these 8 hours of sleep? And are you willing to make the adjustment on the other area of your life that is actually creating that sleep concern? If you're like, well, that's the only time I get to spend with my kids, or I'm in a really challenging stage of work, of life, I'm taking care of people, are those things realistic options for you to give up in order to prioritize your sleep? And it's okay if you're in a stage where you're like, I can't do both. I think it's
mm,
important for us to have conversations to recognize, just from a reality standpoint, the stage of life that you're in, the area that you actually can adjust and are willing to adjust, and focus on that area. Because
yeah.
some people are like, oh my God, I should be getting 8 hours of sleep. And I'm like, okay, let's actually walk through what that would look like. And there's certain times where people have young kids. We cannot optimize your sleep. You are in a period of
Yeah.
time where your kids need you, and it's going to be disruptive. And we're setting you up
Mm,
for kind of, feeling bad and guilty and scared for,
mm,
2 years, 3 years. So
mm.
I think these are hard conversations, and it doesn't mean we are tapping out and not supporting women. I think it's important that we say, let's focus on movement. Let's focus
Yeah.
on this area, and guide people to kind of having that permission to allow different stages of life of where they need
Mm.
to kind of shift to be acknowledged.
Yeah. I love that so much because it's so realistic, right? Like you're really looking at someone's whole life as a picture, not just, well, you need 8 hours sleep, so you got to find it. And then I love the questioning, like, why do you think you need 8 hours sleep? Like, are you actually tired? Are you feeling like you need a nap? Like, or is it just because we read that somewhere, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, and I love that because that's how I work with my clients too. It's like kind of like digging a little deeper, asking more questions and getting curious. And then to your point, like maybe it is temporary and maybe doing half hour of movement gives you that energy back. It sounds counterintuitive, but often a walk outside is going to give you energy back if you didn't have that 1 hour sleep.
Exactly. And 8 hours of sleep is an outcome, it's not a goal. And so, what we're
Mm,
doing is we're setting ourselves up for goals of things we actually don't really have control over. So, the goal would be, I'm going to be off my phone before bed. I'm going to move daily. I'm going to, go upstairs. I'm going to set myself up with things that I have control over. Whether or not you sleep 8 hours, that is your clock. You can, take your magnesium, take some of your other sleep supports, which are things you have control over, but then you kind of have to release the outcome that will allow you to sleep for that 8 hours. And so again, I think we are setting ourselves up for goals that are actually outcomes based on activities that we do have control over. So I think sometimes when we mix those up, we kind of set ourselves up for feeling like we're failing.
yeah. Oh, that's so good. I love this so much. I have a question for you because I know you're a mom, right?
Yes, I have two boys. This is why this is my perspective,
Yeah.
because I
How old
understand
are they?
they're 4 and 7.
Oh my goodness. So you're in the thick of it. You are a CEO of like this company, this business. You're so passionate. I know you do a lot of community work too. How do you juggle it all?
Yeah, it's hard. Things you have to, this is where, I start to chat with women who have kids who are in a phase where they're in building mode in their careers, or whatever it is that they're working towards. There's often a time of your life where there is a lot of stuff coming at you, and it can be
Mm-hmm.
quite intense. And coming at it from a mentality of understanding that every decision that you make will come at a cost, and that is just part of it. Is you decide where you want to be intentional with your time. And so if you want to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional in a couple areas, there are other areas that you will not be able to. And I think acknowledging
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why that sounds so funny. Acknowledging
I
it is so important, you know.
I'm
So
just laughing because I have those moments where I'm like, wait, that word suddenly is not a word.
yeah, I'm like, that's why hormone shifts happening with, young kids. So I love my job. I love running this company. This is
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of my attention is right now. And I love being a mom. And so, um, those are the two areas that are my kind of priority. Our house is an absolute disaster. We are
Oh my
eviction.
gosh. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have been struggling. Like, I'm going for walks. I'm struggling to keep my routine. I'm going to bed later than I normally would. I also know that this is a stage. I trust myself that I'm not going to slip out of control. I'm like, this is where my time and focus and attention are. I still move. I still go outside. I want to be with my kids, but we have a cleaner. I have someone to support picking my kids up a couple days of the week and watching them so I can work late. We do offload a lot of things in order for us to do both. And I think we need to be more open to removing things from our plate, or just being like, your house will be trash like mine is.
Speaking of cleaner, I keep covering my mic because my cleaner's vacuuming right there.
Okay,
I
that's the only way. I'm like, if you're trying to build a career, you have a cleaner, and you might have support with your kids. You have a really strong family network, and if not, then you should start to kind of support yourself in finding a way that we can offload some stuff. And it doesn't all have to go to your partner. Your partner should be stepping up as well, but they also might be building their career and want to be present with your kids. So, um,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said intentional choices, and it's just learning, or maybe not learning, but accepting that, yeah, like laundry isn't all going to be folded and put away nicely. And there's a billion soccer bags out there that I just have had to let go of, and that's okay. I mean, like that doesn't come overnight though. So how did you kind of step into the CEO role and mom role and all these things with like, I feel like there's such an ease with the way you're speaking about it. How did you find that for yourself? Was it, I don't know, a yoga practice? Do you journal? Like what's Dr. Emma's tricks?
I think it was out of necessity, to be
Okay.
honest. I think it wasn't like an aha moment. And also being a clinician who's seen and supported a lot of women through
Mm,
burnout, and understanding, I've seen the stages of where this can go if you don't start to
mm.
remove things.
My God, you're like preventative health in action.
Right, so you see it, but I've also had to have moments where it's challenging, where I've had moments, especially kind of being in a role where I don't have a business degree. I'm a clinician,
Right.
in a very, driving a business forward. So I had no idea about org charts, HR systems,
Right.
accounting systems, how to
Okay.
look at financial reports, setting up marketing funnels, like, all of these things I've had to learn. And I think there's been moments where I've had to face dismantling of what I thought I was capable of, and being
Mm,
willing to learn a new way and work really hard. And in order to do that, I did need to spend more time here, listening to books, reading things, having more calls, doing work late. And it's fulfilling to me. It's not a bad thing. It's not burning me out just because I have more hours at work. It's
yeah.
actually feels really, it's actually giving me a lot of purpose. And so, but
Mm-hmm.
I recognize, in order to do that, I couldn't run home and be doing the other things that I wanted to be doing at home in order to, tidy up the house or make a perfect dinner. I'm like, I can't
That's
do
right.
both. And this is the choice that I've made. And I have very good support systems, like I said, so that, we can still allow our kids to have a lot of really great nutritious foods. And when I'm there, I can play and I'm present.
Yeah.
But it's come from a place of, oh, if I want this to be successful, I have to make this choice.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. So beautiful. Okay. Time for some fun rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. What is the most misunderstood hormone myth?
That birth control is evil.
Ooh, can you expand a little bit?
Birth control, like the oral contraceptive pill, gives women reproductive autonomy. And I think we forget that pregnancy comes with risks. It can pivot your entire life. There's health risks that are involved. And so I never want young women to feel bad or judged or scared if they need contraception.
Yeah, I
You should.
didn't know that was out there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
Okay.
hate towards the pill, and I
Hmm.
think it's important for women to feel empowered with a choice that they've made for their bodies.
Okay, because I thought you meant that is a misconception for like helping perimenopause symptoms. I didn't even know that. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of misinformation about birth control and oral contraceptives. There's a lot of narratives online that are really advocating that it's the worst thing you can take. It's synthetic. It's that. It's
Oh,
going to
like
take.
it's not natural. It's going to hurt your body kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I think it's a tool that has a lot of value that, unfortunately, if you have the wrong kind of algorithm feeding you information, you
Yeah.
feel very confused about needing some support for contraception and really not understand, really feeling overwhelmed that people are telling you it's dangerous, it's going to damage your fertility, and it's
Okay.
going to like
Wow.
ruin. Yeah.
Guess I'm not in the pregnancy algorithm anymore because I don't see that.
Well, that's good. You'll probably get some stuff now about, 5 reasons why you shouldn't take the pill or whatever it is.
Right. All right. Most underrated health habit.
Oof. A most underrated health habit, sex.
Oh, I love that. Did not know you were going to go spicy.
I think pleasure is important,
Yeah.
and, you have to be calm and regulated, and you have to make time for yourself in order to receive pleasure, in order to experience pleasure. You have to be in a very parasympathetic space. You're connecting with a partner that you love. There's oxytocin flowing. It puts yourself into a nice, sedative, sympathetic state. So, I mean, maybe
Mm,
not sex, but pleasure and orgasm to me is underrated, and we kind of
yeah.
push it off to the side. So,
You are so right about all of that. And I think part of it is what you said about the pleasure side. That is not just like we're married, we should be doing it, like once or whatever, right? It's that like you need to be in that. And maybe it's like it's obviously going to be a little different men and women, but we really, as a woman, really do need to be in that right parasympathetic space.
absolutely. And you must create time, you must create space for yourself to be in a mode where you are willing to drop everything else around you and prioritize pleasure for yourself, which is so anti a lot of our like go, 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 do. But
It's so
it,
true.
if we think about it as a health, something that we're actually doing for ourselves, then maybe we would
Yeah.
prioritize it because we're not thinking about it as something we have to check off on our list so that we can go lift weights or listen to our thing or do
Yeah.
our thing. I'm like, that's a very meditative state. And it is so
Mm.
unique because it is, it can be self pleasure or it can be with a partner, but it is prioritizing something that sometimes we don't put a lot of value on. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know
that's
why that popped up in that's the first thing that came to mind.
I love it. It's so good because on like I said, on so many levels, it's to like be actually in it. We're not talking about checking it off the box. It's
No,
like,
like enjoying it, like
yeah.
pleasure. You are enjoying a moment, and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of dopamine, there's a lot of
Yeah.
oxytocin. There is like a flood of very amazing hormones that kind of, like you kind of get flooded with that. There's not a lot of other stuff that you can do that would put you in a state like that besides when, pleasure, orgasm, connection. Yeah, just that dopamine, oxytocin release. There's not a lot of stuff we can do that can do it that fast and effectively.
It's
And,
so true.
you
This is
know,
really cool. This is really cool. I didn't think we go in this direction, but I'm just thinking about things that like we tend to kind of check off. Like, well, I did my breath work. I did my mindful eating. Like, I didn't eat with my phone. I did my workout, my run, my walk, all these things. But like this piece that you're talking about, you can't fake it. No pun
no,
intended, but you can't. Like, you do need your nervous system to be on your side to get there. So this is actually pretty cool.
exactly. It is the interception of the nervous system and physical response. Like, this topic is obviously, like, it's such an important topic to talk about because
Yeah.
we just so undervalue it. And
Oh
so
my gosh. Yeah.
there you go. Put it on your top, like put it on,
To
skip
do.
skip your whatever. People are like, oh no, I'm not going to get my 8 hours of sleep. I'm like, well, this is restorative,
Totally.
it resets your system. Nothing will put you in a parasympathetic state like that, like an orgasm will. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's
So
actually good
good.
for your health.
I love that so much. Okay. One supplement most women should probably discuss with someone, their practitioner, whoever.
So you mean something that someone should take, or something that they should be talking about before they take it?
Ooh, I
Is
guess
that what you're
both, if that's a different answer.
Well, I mean, it's so out there now, but magnesium, there's a reason
Okay.
everybody is talking about the magnesium glycinate. It's such a game changer for women, specifically in the perimenopause era, for sleep, for that nervous system support. We're so depleted in it. And it's one of the
Mm.
supplements where people can feel it. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've had people say, well, I think it might be placebo because, like, there's just no way it really works. Like, they're kind of like, what is this? Like, how did I just sleep so well with
Okay.
so it's probably the biggest supplement I find that makes the most significant impact the fastest, and people genuinely feel it when they need.
Wow. Is it complicated, the physiology behind why?
Well, magnesium is a cofactor, and I think it's like 400 biochemical reactions in the body. So it is required for so many different things. It's
Okay.
required for nervous system firing. It's vasodilator. It actually helps maintain your potassium channels. So if you're taking electrolytes, if you don't have enough magnesium, it can actually not stay within your cells. Like, there's so many
Okay.
areas. It helps calm down your blood pressure as well. There's so
Mm.
many states, so it's very calming but not sedating.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is utilized. It's very well researched as well. It's very safe. There's a lot of research for mood, depression, anxiety, sleep, blood pressure.
Okay.
Like, a lot of the hyperstimulated systems respond very well to magnesium. And so,
Okay. And the glycinate version is easier to absorb, I think, right? That's why
so
you guys recommend that one?
Yes. So the glycinate, it's two factors. So when magnesium's chelated with an amino acid rather than like a salt form, so glycine itself is an amino acid, which also acts as a neurotransmitter. So glycine itself is an inhibitory transmitter. It binds its own receptors, and it's very calming. So you get
Mm.
the impact of magnesium, but you also get the impact of glycine. You'll see there's glycine supplements on its own that we
Okay.
use for anxiety and for sleep, and it's also underutilized. So pairing the both together, you get this really nice kind of combination effect, and you're going to absorb it much better. So it's not going to draw as much water into the bowel and cause loose bowel movements, where some of the other salt forms will do that.
Interesting. Okay. Coffee or herbal tea?
Oh, coffee.
Okay,
Coffee,
good.
coffee.
You're my girl. Okay. Favorite way for you to move your body?
Favorite way for me to move my body, I love walks. I love going for walks, especially being outside. I'm a huge fan. I love yoga as well. I kind of go where the wind takes me with whatever I feel like. I'm big on listening to what my body needs and trying to get at
Mm-hmm.
least movement in every day in some form. So, I did a
Beautiful.
little workout with my boys this morning in the basement. That's what today brought me.
Oh, I love that you're modeling it for them. One thing every woman should know entering her 40s.
Okay, entering your 40s, I think it's important to know that some of the tools that worked for you for, weight maintenance or mood or sleep might be changing, and they might not serve you in the same way. And that doesn't mean you need to double down and go more intense. It means you might need to have a little bit more support and understanding what your body needs, because your hormones are changing in your 40s. It's not a question of, oh, am I in? I'm like, yes, you're in early stages of perimenopause if you're over 40. It doesn't mean sound the alarm, like there's a whole bunch of stuff you need to be doing. It just means that there is an impact. Some people feel it more than others. Some people have more resilience to hormonal changes, which is absolutely great. It means you've set yourself up with a lot of good tools and resources and habits that are supporting your body through transitions.
Mm.
But if you're all of a sudden, if you're feeling extremely anxious and your meditation practices aren't working anymore, or if you're like, I'm gaining weight even though I'm eating the exact same weight, working out the exact same, these are signs that there is something else kind of driving it, and you might need a little bit more support in learning new tools or ways to support
Yeah.
yourself, so you're not alone in it, and it's okay, and it doesn't mean it's going to be bad and get worse every single year.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good because so many, I can just think of a handful of clients that are sort of like that late 30s and then they're like, I don't get it. I still just eat a banana and this and like I'm like, okay, I'm not an expert in like exact, but I think that sounds like it's not you, it's hormonal and like you just need some support. So that's really reassuring to hear. And I hope listeners can lean towards that. And like you said, not doubling down and like cutting the calories more or
Exactly.
working
Cut your
out.
banana in half and go for double the workout. Like that's what some people end up doing, and they are completely burnt out and exhausted. And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it
And it
does
throws the body into like this, like, oh God, I need to
yeah,
be in survival mode and hold on to more. Um,
100%. Our bodies are brilliant that way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I hope listeners can really take that one away too. One thing every woman should know entering menopause. So, let's say somebody listening is like, yeah, I haven't had my period in over a year.
Yeah, so I think it's important for women to understand that menopause, like what that is. So your ovarian reserve, the amount of eggs that a woman is born with declines as we age because we're not producing more eggs. And the menopausal transition, as those numbers of eggs decline, their responsiveness also declines because our eggs are aging with us, which are, so now if you're 35, 37, 40, that's how old your follicles, your eggs are as well. And perimenopause is the transition of your ovaries not ovulating anymore. And that is what is producing estrogen and progesterone. And so when you stop having a period and you stop bleeding, your ovaries and your body are no longer producing estrogen and progesterone in any sort of significant amount. And I think that's important for women to know, is that their body's no longer producing it. I get a lot of women post menopause who say, um, I want to balance my hormones, or I'm wondering if my hormones are completely out of whack. And I often have to explain to them, well, you're actually not, if you haven't had a period, you're not producing hormones. You can still have kind of like these cyclical symptoms a little bit where you're almost on like your body can still be trying to produce, but not in any sort of significant amount. And I think
Mm,
that is not common knowledge, because I've had a lot of conversations where women, I don't think, comprehend that they're not making estrogen and progesterone, which you have made
yeah.
for your whole reproductive life since your period has started. So it's a
Right.
very significant change in how your body has operated.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. So interesting. I'm trying to think before you told me that, what did I know? Or like, what did I think? And I think I thought it just stopped. I didn't know it was like still trying. I'm
It's
picturing
all
little shriveled ovaries trying.
Your brain will always drop. Your brain is sending those signals. Your brain's not just like, oh, cool. Your brain will always be flooding the your FSH and LH in order to try to get that stimulation from your ovaries. It's just that you no longer have responsive follicles or enough follicles that are able to respond to the signal. And so
Okay.
sometimes, maybe even 6 months or 8 months after someone hasn't had a period, all of a sudden it can stimulate a follicle. Like it can stimulate a follicle, and you're like, what? I just had a period, or I got, and obviously you want to investigate that if it's been over a
Mm,
year. But that can
mm-hmm.
be very normal in the transitional process if someone's lost a lot of weight, or a lot with the GLP-1s, with weight loss that is reducing a lot of inflammation and reducing a lot of insulin levels. Sometimes you can actually see periods restart or get a little bit heavier or
Mm,
change. Again, that's because you're actually changing the responsiveness of those follicles or eggs.
yeah. Yeah.
These are the
Okay. That's
least rapid fire answers.
I
I'm
know.
the worst rapid fire.
Me too, to be honest, because then I'm like, wait, I want to know more. Can you tell me more?
This is like long,
Uh,
this slow fire.
okay, so after helping women for so many years, and as you continue, what do you wish every woman understood about her body?
I wish everyone woman understood that your body is changing and your body is unique, and listen when it is giving you signals. I've always been fine with this. Your body can change. That doesn't need to be true today just because it was true 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And so I think it's important to question when you have beliefs putting your body in a certain kind of framework or a certain state, that it's, allow your body to change because it is changing, and acknowledge that, and it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, final question. What does moving with ease mean to you in all pillars of life?
I love that, moving with ease. I think it's allowing yourself to be intentional and not feel guilty about what it is you need to do, and not feel like there's something you should be doing or somebody else is telling you you need to be doing. Ease in letting yourself lead without feeling guilty.
Yeah, I love this so much. I love this whole conversation. I feel like we could like unpack each topic even more. Like you said, slow roast it, slow fire. But we're going to close up for today. And thank you so much for your time and your insights and your reflections. And I think the listeners are going to take a lot away from this. So thank you, Dr. Emma.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Move with Ease podcast. If today's episode resonated, share it with a friend who could use this message, or take a minute to rate and review the show. It really helps other moms find it too. For more tools and inspiration to help you move, run, live with more ease, connect with me on Instagram at Tatiana Gramping, or grab my free guide in the show notes. Until next time, keep moving with intention and keep practicing tuning into your body. Remember, you're not broken. Every step, no matter how small, means you're banking your health to become stronger in your future. See you next time.